Welcome to Let's Talk Licensing, the segment of IP Millionaire, where we discuss licensing across pop culture news and notes to help you build a better business. Happy end of summer. I'm Shadeed Eleazer, and let's get into what we're going to cover today. So, I want to give a breakdown of how licensing can help service based businesses. Now, as a person, a young man who was raised in a service based business or family that has several service based businesses, side hustles, etc., is one of those full circle moments that we all have where it's like, well, if I knew then what I know now. And what I want to do is revisit um, that time capsule and walk through some clear cut examples of how you, as a service based business owner, whether you're a professional, whether you're a speaker, author, publisher, can utilize the lucrative land or industry known as licensing in order to grow your business exponentially. And so, one of the things that I want you to realize are the core concepts that I want you to understand. And it took me a while to reach this level of understanding. And so, if you are a service based business and you're struggling to break through a certain income ceiling, then chances are, and you have not defined your IP strategy. Whereas the iconic brands have an IP strategy and a team that manages that IP strategy and enforces that IP strategy. And when new products and services are created under that brand, IP is one of the first details that are considered. And so, your first bit of homework here is I want you to go to your business plan. I want you to go to your business plan. And if it's a Word document, a Google Doc, if it's some sort of electronic file, I want you to hit the Control F, and that's the feature to find. And I want you to go into your plan and do a search for the words intellectual property. Now, most of you have created your business plan on your own. So you probably wrote it yourself or got it from some sort of template somewhere online. And if you don't have an intellectual property strategy, I don't care if you're an IT service provider, if you run a SaaS model, if you sell hair care products, personal fitness, these are all niche markets that people tell me all the time. Well, I don't understand how licensing can work for me. And I can guarantee you, if you have not accounted for your IP strategy, then you, lady or gentleman, are leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars on the table in terms of what your income ceiling could potentially be. So, in this particular broadcast, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to walk through some diagrams that I created to help drive this home because once you get it, then you got it. And that's what I want you to leave with is that overall understanding. I also want to point out that at this particular point, we're going to open the doors to the Content Licensing Academy. So CLA will be opening soon. Enrollment for CLA opens soon, right in time for the fall. You know, the weather's starting to get a bit crisp. We're going from iced coffee into hot cocoa. And so, what better time to get your strategy together than as we head into the last quarter of the year and we get focused on what we need to do in terms of our licensing strategy. So, I won't uh, talk about CLA at this point, but just to plant the seed that it is on the way. And so when we talk about what licensing is, what is licensing? We got to take a step back here and address the elephant in the room, and it's the objection that my knowledge is not valuable. My time that I exchange is not on par of the, let's say, the big leagues, and who I am as a professional. I'm not the people that I see on the Instagram ads and with six figures in followers in terms of YouTube, and seven-figure business owners. And so what I want you to give yourself the permission to do is give yourself the permission to play the game at a world-class level. Play the game at a world-class level. And that's what I want you to consider, is that no matter what your knowledge level may be, there is a beginner market within your industry. There are also things that you figured out that millions of people are searching for today. And there's a target audience for every type of skill or problem that is solved within your industry. And there's a parent organization or a larger corporation or entity that serves your target market. So I'll give you a crystal clear example. If you serve solopreneurs, for example, meaning you help them in the startup phase of business. You may write business plans, you may help them with their balance sheets and just get up and running. You may, let's say, be the competitor to LegalZoom and help them with the setup of their business within the first 3 years. So from day 1 to 3 years of the planning phase, you are that resource. And so if that's you, you may feel that you're not, Damon John, for example, who does a lot of business coaching nowadays. You may feel that you're not on the level of the top business coaches in the industry. But as far as, let's say, target or organizations that serve your target market, the Small Business Administration, which is the governing body of small business in the United States of America, is an organization that serves your target market. SCORE, for example, which is the nation's largest network of business mentors, also serves your target audience. So if you, instead of exchanging one-to-one, were to, let's say, create something of interest to those organizations, then they would essentially service their audience at scale. And that's what we're looking to do here. So let's go into diagrams. And those of you who are tuning in, make sure that you let me know where you're viewing this from. So in the comments, type where you're watching this broadcast from. So now let's share the screen and get into this. Let's see. So as I get things ready to share my screen, there we go. Okay, so service-based business owners, this is what it looks like. And so we'll go into what this is, and then we'll go into some of the challenges with this particular model. And so what we have here on the screen is the age-old time for money exchange. So in most cases, you are exchanging your skill set, your high-income skills, in exchange for some sort of payment to a program, to a service, so on and so forth. And you are essentially being financed by people, whether it's people who want to lose weight, people who want to build a business, people who need their taxes done, services that you are providing services to people. And so the big challenge with the time for money exchange, first of all, service-based businesses are great if you need a low-cost way to get started. Great. And they've been around for centuries. But in today's economy, where everyone has had to figure out new ways to earn, to pivot, to sell. Everyone's making adjustments. So what we have as we go to our next slide here is that the people who you're selling to, so here, this is the person who's giving the exchange of time for money. So they're giving the money here, the client. They have the largest amount of competing priorities that they've ever had in, let's say, society. And so what we have here is now when they would exchange the money for the service, now they're thinking about, well, my job, for example, is doing social distancing, or I don't want to go back into the office, or they cut my hours, or they cut the contract. And so now they're thinking, how can I pay my rent or my mortgage, my car note, my bills, credit cards, etc.? And so what this puts you in a position of is you are another competitor to these main necessities. And so it's no longer disposable income. And so this leaves you in many cases in the red because there's chargebacks, there's people who buy programs and services and don't necessarily have the means to follow through. So let's say if your program is 15,000 US dollars. In the past, maybe you had a down payment of, let's say, 29.97, and you took the rest of the payments in increments. So throughout a calendar year, you had a generous payment plan that allowed for people to play the game. And so nowadays, 29.97 may be able to charge through, but that card on file is people are going to their reserves in greater numbers. And so that's what you run into. And when you are chasing the clients, meaning you're one client away from either making your mortgage for the month or one client away from maxing out your credit cards as people come in and go, then you run into that challenger problem. And so what I propose and what I help my clients to do is to stop chasing clients and start enrolling students. And so with this model, what you're doing is instead of exchanging the time for money, what you're doing is you're packaging your knowledge into a digital asset that solves a, let's say, a defined problem and is hosted online and uses the power of search engine and the attention economy in order to enroll students. Now, the beauty of this particular model is that when you enroll students, students can become clients, high ticket clients. Students can become sponsors. Students can become affiliates. And so there's up to 8 different ways that a student can help you continue to grow your business. But the most important function that they play is cash flow on a daily basis. And so the beauty of this model is that you can create once and sell forever. As we sit here today, because I'm delivering this presentation, someone is going to go and say, hey, I want to know more about this Shadeed character. What is he about? And on their search, they're going to stumble upon information that I packaged years ago that is considered evergreen, meaning it solves an eternal problem within the life path of my target client, and they will buy it. And so by simply existing and sharing information and helping, meaning you did not pay for a ticket to listen to my voice or to see me on video for this presentation, it benefits because it's something that was packaged and is hosted online and generates interest in the form of sales today. And so that is what you should be doing if you have knowledge, skills, and abilities that have solved problems for people in the past. There's so many people watching this who have over 10 years of experience, who know their industry inside and out. But if you get sick, if you, let's say, have a power outage, if you uh, go through a divorce or a breakup, then your ability to focus and work will be diminished. But if you are able to package your knowledge, then life's ups and downs and ebbs and flows and waves that happen in life, you're able to weather those storms more effectively because you have a solid arsenal library of digital assets, or let's call them money trees, is what I like to refer to them as. And enrolling students allows you again to upsell to high ticket programs, to uh, have an army of advocates for your products and services. And you actually help people because you're helping them solve a problem overall. And so, next, once you have your digital asset and you have your student economy up and running within your business, this gives you the foundations for an education based business or installing an educational branch within your business. And so that's what you want to start to happen. And so the next level of this is when you start to get into the world of licensing. And so, again, instead of selling your time to clients, and at this time, clients, bless their hearts, they're people too, but clients are competing with the greatest amount of financial hardships as a result of the pandemic and supply chain disruption and corporate North America disruption than we've ever seen. Many organizations and industries have been decimated as a result. And so the one clear difference between selling to people versus selling to companies is that established companies have education as part of their operating expenses. In fact, as a result of the pandemic and the adjustments that have to be made, corporations, organizations, universities are spending more on the enjoyment, the morale, welfare, and entertainment of their clients or their students or employees than at any other point in recorded civilization. And so that's what you must keep in mind. If I'm going to sell to someone or something, I want the people or the entity to have the money to pay me in order for the transaction to be fair and equitable. Nothing feels worse than to sell to someone and you realize that they are giving their last, or they're putting a terrible situation in order to afford you. And so companies, they have the capital available in order to invest in your particular brand of services. And so you package your knowledge, digital asset, you build your student economy, and you attract the corporations, universities, and agencies, which include nonprofits, which include trade associations, which include chambers of commerce, and they have the target audience in mind that you serve and support. So, using the example of the SBA, if Bob, the business coach, has a licensing agreement with the Small Business Administration, the Small Business Administration has, let's say, branch offices worldwide, or let's say throughout the continental USA, and each branch office has their own list and database of aspiring and current entrepreneurs, that Bob the business coach now gains incredible leverage in partnering with the SBA. The SBA itself does not create their own content. The SBA itself does not, let's say, write their own manuals. They outsource to Small Business North America. And so Bob the business coach gains recognition, let's say name brand alliance in terms of partnership, and can use those testimonials of serving and supporting a branch office with SBA. Or if Bob, the business coach, is fortunate enough, can also set up a nationwide brand. And so, or brand partnership or licensing partnership. So, as you can see, if you're able to set up non exclusive licensing agreements with several entities that serve your target audience, that's all considered sources of income or revenue. And so that's what I want you to keep in mind. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to video and see if there's any questions about this particular topic. And so, in review, exchanging time for money is something we all start with. Is nothing wrong with it per se, but as we continue to grow and improve and do what we need to do and grow, there's always a better way to do what we want to do. And so that's what I'm focused on helping my audience understand. And so if you have any questions, you can always go to the comments or send a direct message. But as I close out this broadcast, the one detail that you must understand is that the enrollment for the Content Licensing Academy, where you're going to learn how to package your knowledge, your skills, abilities, and attract the organizations. You're going to know the 21-point checklist for what makes a digital asset licensable, and how to structure your deals, how to negotiate, and all of these excellent details, learning directly from myself and people who are on the team. And so enrollment will open shortly. Once again, I'm Shadeed Eleazer, and you've been tuning in to the broadcast about licensing. Academy open soon, and I look forward to seeing you as a new student in the academy. Take care of yourself.